Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Teresa and I am going to be doing a presentation on our body's energy systems. I personally find this topic really fascinating, and I would say maybe like 10 years ago, I started on what I will call my journey, my personal journey of healing, and understanding myself and going through a bunch of different processes and even getting into yoga, and that came much later in my journey. But one of the things that I learned that I really connected with early on in my journey is having an understanding that I have a physical body. I am not a physical body. I am spirit, number one. And I am a human. I'm having a human experience. So really having that concept for a long time, and really feeling connected to the concept that I am a soul, and a soul that has a body, and that I am spirit having a human experience. So really feeling that for a long time, and really being interested in our energy bodies. And when I started getting into yoga, like I think a lot of people get into yoga as doing a physical practice, and that's what it started out for me. And I had this really deep spiritual experience in which I was called to hot yoga amongst many other things. So interestingly, being called to hot yoga, and I didn't know why I was being called to hot yoga, but I knew that I had to go. So I thought I was going for my physical health, but it was more than just that. And so through this process of discovery in yoga, I realized too that my other understandings and the other things that I had learned on my journey really started to kind of click in for understanding for me. And so this is one of those aspects of things that I really was interested in, that through yoga gave me the opportunity to have a deeper understanding of our physical self, our physical body. So going from the place of knowing that we are more than just what you see, we are more than the flesh and the bones that you see, and the basis of who we are really is energy. So I'm going to talk about 3 energy systems today: the nadis, the chakras, and the koshas. And so I thought these are 3 separate things, but as I learned, they are 3 intertwined things. And so I've given you guys some handouts. On the handouts, I did leave some things blank, so that way you guys will be able to fill in. This one doesn't have any blanks, this first handout, but the next 2 handouts have blanks for you to be able to fill in and follow along as you go. So starting with the nadis. So the nadis, a real basic understanding of the nadis is that the nadis are energy channels within our bodies. So just like we have arteries and veins in our physical bodies, we have these energetic veins, if you will, also that move energy around our body. Just like in Chinese medicine, you have the meridians, the nadis would be considered the same exact thing. So in Sanskrit, nadi stands for tube or pipe, which makes sense because it's a conduit, the nadi is. The nadis within our body too, if you look at all the different ancient texts, they vary between 101 nadis to 350,000 nadis within our body. Most texts say that we have 72,000 nadis within our body. And so the idea and the concept of saying that is really, there is innumerable pathways within our body that this energy can flow within us. And I think an important aspect that I want to touch on too, that I learned, is the energy within our bodies is different from person to person to person. Your energy is unique to you and to you and to you. And the reason why that is our prana, our life force energy, is not just made up of energy. It also has karmic memories with it. So things that we come into our life with, our karmas, intentions, and things that we come into this existence with are part of that energy system. So of course, it's going to be different from every single person. And there's actually 10 types of pranas that go within our body too. So we're going to talk about all these various types of pranas within the body as well. And so this prana is also intelligent. So just like, I'm sure maybe you guys have heard of the term epigenetics. about how, yes, we have our genes, but our genes are influenced by all the things around us and our energy and how we think. And it's not just our genes creating a certain expression, but it's an expression relation to what we're also receiving. And so that's an important aspect of our prana is, you know, how are we born into it and what is our personal energy and what are we putting into that as well. So every person's prana is going to be unique. So within these nadis and within these energy channels, there's different layers, and we'll talk about this more too. So the three main layers is our physical body layer, which is our human body, what we can touch, what we can feel, and our energy, our prana. Then we have our subtle body, which is our mind and our intellect, our thinking mind. And then we have our causal body, which is our soul, and the Atman is another term for soul. And so that's also considered your inner spirit. So looking at kind of going from your outer body into your core is your soul. So I didn't know this either, but you know, you think chakras are a separate system than the nadis. The chakras are actually concentrated points within the nadis. So you have all these nadis flowing through your body, and then the chakras are these concentrated areas of energy within those nadi systems. So like I talked about before, 72,000 nadis, lots and lots of them, and they carry our prana and our life force energy. So we have the nutrients being carried around through our physical body, and then our nadis are carrying that life force energy throughout our body. So when we're getting a little bit deeper into these layers, our physical body, so like I mentioned, you know, we have the arteries and veins, but the energy does move around aspects of our physical body too. The air within our body, the water within our body, the nutrients in our body. The subtle and causal bodies carry the cosmic energies, the vital energies, the intellectual energies, all of them collectively called the prana. So like I said, there's 10 different types of prana. This is a rabbit hole of information where you can just dig and dig and dig. And so there's a point at which I say, I cannot dig anymore, I must just present. And so just know that there is more depth of knowledge to those types of prana. So all of the nadis actually originate from one of two places, the heart and the khanda. So the khanda is like down near our root, between our root and like our solar plexus and our sacral chakra, way down in there. It's a bulb that essentially is emitting all this energy and sending it out. So our heart and our khanda is what's really emitting all of these energies from those centers. So the nadis too, I was like, where did these come from? And so the nadis really originated starting over 3,000 years ago in the Hindu texts. A lot of the texts that we read about and learn in our 200-hour and 300-hour talk about these energy channels in detail. And it's not just yoga, and I'm sure, like, I don't know if any of you guys watched the show Ancient Aliens. I love Ancient Aliens, and Ancient Aliens looks at historical structures and how these structures were built and the religion of the people behind these structures. And interestingly enough, you could go to Mexico, you could go to Egypt, you could go to Tibet, and all of these cultures, while they're different, they have a lot of these similar underpinnings. And so Chinese medicine and Tibetan medicine also have very similar underpinnings, as does the yoga cultural nadis. So earlier I talked about the Chinese medicine having the chi and the meridians, so that's the same correlate. So the meridians are the same as the nadis, the chi would be the same as the prana. In Tibet, they do borrow a lot of concepts from Tantric Buddhism, and in Tibetan traditions, they teach about cleansing a central channel called the phowa. And so I just thought that was like interesting details about how these other religions are looking at the same thing. So in this handout that I gave you, you can see there's different nadi channels. So there, like I said, 72,000 nadis, lots and lots of nadis, and then there are some more important nadis. So we have these 14 important nadis. So you don't, those ones are on here and you don't need to fill them in, but these are just major pathways of how our energy is traveling from one area of our body to another. So that's why I printed this one out, because you see there are some chakras on here that you see these energy lines moving from those inner chakra areas to other aspects of our body. So how are we controlling our right body, our left body, our emotions, what energy centers are we stimulating? So there are many pathways to moving this energy around. There are three main pathways within this system, this nadi system. So the three main pathways are the sushumna. So the sushumna is the central channel. So that's essentially, if you think about your spine, that's like the energy correlate of our physical spine, is that sushumna. That's your main channel. And then you have your ida and your pingala, which are right and left channels. So when you're looking at this handout, this is when you can start filling some stuff in. So at the top, and I have some visual aids here too. At the very top, I have labeled this center channel, and I'm sorry I didn't have a color copier. That main channel is that Sushumna channel. And then if you look on the bottom, there'll be a blank spot for each of the pingalas. Your left pingala, which are your left Ida nadi, and your right pingala nadi. The way this energy flows up our spine through our Sushumna, so you have that main energy channel, and then you have the right and left energy channels. These right and left energy channels actually form like a double helix and spiral around that Sushumna and crisscross. So you'll see when I'm looking at this, if I follow the pink line, we're starting on that left side, and then we cross through each one of these chakra systems until we get to the top, and that's how the pingala is as well. So each one of these energy, the Ida and the pingala, are crossing at each of the chakras and intersecting at a chakra. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those visuals of like a medical symbol where you have the snake wrapped around another pole. Like you can think about the nadis as that snake that's going to be running up that Sushumna. So there are important aspects, main aspects to the energy that is being moved through these channels. So the Ida is the yin energy or the moon energy, and the pingala is the yang energy of the sun. So, you know, just like the yin and yang, that we have like some duality in those two terms, we have it with the Ida and the pingala. So the yin side of us, you know, if you think about yin yoga, that's the slower aspect. That's the more relaxed aspect. That's the calm aspect. Whereas the pingala and your yang energies of the sun, that's bringing heat. They say Ashtanga is like a pingala practice because you're bringing a lot of energy into your body during that practice. So when we're looking here, we're also seeing that the Ida is associated with the left nostril, the pingala is associated with that right nostril. So a lot of the things that I'm going to bring in today go hand in hand with what Verena taught. So that alternate nostril breathing that we practiced earlier is a great way, and we'll talk about that more, to bring those energies into balance because you're working with just the right channel or the left channel. So with the Ida, it's actually your right brain that's dominant. So left nostril is in charge, but it's our right brain that's dominant. So it's a feminine energy. The qualities of an Ida is a cooling, they're creative, emotional, calming energy, white energy. It is the rest cycle, really activity that's associated with our parasympathetic nervous system. So bringing your calming energy in, the cooling energy, or creative, as opposed to this left brain dominant Pingala, which is your masculine energy. It's hot. So like I said, it's that yang, that sun energy. So it's perceived as more hot, more energetic, more red. It's your activity cycle or your sympathetic nervous system. So let's say you are going to do a presentation and you want to bring some energy in. You can maybe focus on doing just some right breathing. Okay, let me get some more energy in here, more masculine energy to be able to present and have the confidence to be able to do stuff like that. So the Pingala controls biological and physical parts of the right side of the body, where the Ida controls the physiological and biological parts of your left side of your body. The Ida is more connected to your emotions and your mental processes, where your Pingala is more of your logical reasoning side, your analytical side. The Pingala is also the mechanism that is going to regulate our activity or arousal. So like I said, it's really more of our energizing side and regulating more of our energy system, versus the Ida is more of our relaxing mechanism. So when you are feeling more anxious or you're feeling, some anxiety or not calm, you can focus on that left nostril energy and see about bringing some calming energy into your system. So doing things like that, if you're wanting to, maybe let's get yourself into a more calm state, it's an ideal state for contemplation, for creativity, doing things like visualization exercises, really tuning into that. I know, I think it's people preach about like do visualization exercises, but sometimes I think that's also hard because you're like playing a movie in your head and you want to have some control over, or maybe it's not going the way you want to. So maybe focusing on more of that Ida energy will give you some more opportunity to have some better visualizations. So if you're bringing your Pingala energy, that's more for your physical tasks, your analytical tasks, your self-expression, arousal, and doing extroverted activities like this right here. The Sushumna is the most important central channel. So it connects our root chakra to our crown chakra. And like I said, essentially you can think of the Sushumna as like our spine, our energetic spine. So it links all of the chakras together with our intersecting Pingala and Ida Nadis. In Sanskrit, it translates to supremely gracious or compassionate. And really, the Sushumna is made up of 3 individual nadi layers as well. It's not just one nadi. So the Kundalini energy is really at the base of our spine. And so the sacred coiled serpent is that Kundalini energy lies dormant at the base of the spine, coiled 3.5 times. And so as we awaken that Kundalini energy, that is what's going to be traveling up that Sushumna. I don't know if any of you guys have ever had a feeling of Kundalini energy. Have any of you guys felt that, Maureen? Yes. Anybody else?
Like when you're doing, like when you do camel pose or back bend, sometimes you feel that energy rushing up from the legs. I don't know if you've ever felt that.
Well, what's really weird is I've always, I think too, like me being such a type A student, like I want to have a Kundalini experience. Like, yes, what can I do to achieve that? I've meditated a lot. Like I said, I've been on this path for a long time, read a lot of books. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Let's go. Astral projection. Let's get out of here. But it's not as easy as like just doing that. So as I was going through this, and of course reading a lot about it, this memory so graciously was given back to me that I had this Kundalini experience that I totally forgot about. And it was actually during an ayahuasca experience that I had. And so I can answer more questions about the ayahuasca later if you're not sure what that is, but it's a plant medicine. And this memory that I have is me being surrounded by my ancestors and them holding my hands and going through this like really deep healing aspect and feeling all of a sudden, I felt this energy rise up through myself and shoot out the top of my head. And when I say shoot out, I mean blast. And it was like this like this ongoing energy. And I forgot that I had this experience until I got into this, and I was like, oh my God, that was it. And then I started to question it. I was like, but Teresa, was that really it? And I'm like, okay, let's stop analyzing whether it's real or not. You receive that, and I'm going to take that for the face value of what I perceive it to be and what I thought it was. And it was a tremendous experience. I've not had anything else like that happened to me last year. But that's the closest thing that I can relate to perhaps having that experience.
I recently went to Joe Dispenza, and he uses this up energy in his breathing techniques and meditation. So it's exactly what you're describing.
Yeah.
He locks up the different block in the body and to bring this energy up in the pineal gland and up. That's like basically, he doesn't call it Kundalini energy, but it felt like as we did this breathing, how the energy shoots up and it lights up like this.
That's exactly what I felt. It was crazy. Yes. Yeah. And so, really too, if we think about like the goal of yoga and what's the point of doing yoga? Why are we doing this? The main goal, I think, for most yogis is some level of enlightenment or self-realization. And so attaining that level of enlightenment or that bliss, you go through these things like having this Kundalini energy, and they say you can't have enlightenment or you can't achieve it without having those type of things. And achieving that, and what we learn too for most people is you just touch it. It's just I got to touch that samadhi. I got to touch that for a minute. Maureen gave us a great example, and I love this example. I'm a coffee lover, and I really connected to this example of samadhi, that bliss that we're going to talk about in getting there. You love coffee, but let's say you're out of coffee. So you're like, okay, I have to have my coffee, but I want my special, if I'm going to go get it, I'm going to get my good coffee from Starbucks. I'm going to wait in the line. So you get in your car, you get to the Starbucks, you wait in the line, you know it's coming, you know it's going to be like the best sip you've had. You have that first sip. Samadhi. Second sip, not samadhi, because now you have it. But the first sip, samadhi. And I was like, that's it. You touch it. You have those moments of touching it. So that was the moment that I feel like I touched that bliss body that I can relate to. When you're activating that Sushumna, it destroys your sins, your ignorance, and your tamas. One of the other aspects of energy that I'm not going to get into is the gunas, the different aspects of our energy. There's sattva energy, tamas energy, and rajas energy. The sattva's energy is like your kindness, your harmony. That's where you want to live, in this high energy. Then there's rajas, which is passion and activity, which can be good, but also can be bad. You can be over activity, overness there. But then there's the tamas, which is your darkness or your chaos. We all have light and dark within us. Nobody's perfect. We all have those moments where we're judging other people. I'm like, oh my God, I'm judging. Why? I don't want to judge. And so when you're having these moments, it can kind of essentially like burn through these tamas or these negative energies that you have within you. How can we activate our nadis? Well, we've already activated a lot of it. You do it every day. You do it in your yoga. You do it in your pranayama practice. So in your yoga, any practice that really utilizes the concept of the sun and the moon, ha-fa is really standing for sun and moon. So those yin and yang energies. So the slower, more lunar practices, like I talked about earlier, like a yin yoga would really tune into your ida energy, versus an ashtanga would tune in to that pingala energy, that more active energy. Pranayama. So pranayama is a very important component to our yoga practice, and Verena demonstrated that to us earlier today. And there are so many types of pranayama. And so the pranayama is really a way to move that energy through our body. Like if you think about like being stuck in your chair at your office, right? You're in your chair, you grab your drink, your zone of movement is like right here. And you can start to feel kind of tired or sluggish because you have no movement in your body. So that's why it's good to take stretch breaks at work, is really taking some breathing, moving that body really does move your energy around. The pranayama that I'm going to touch on today is the Nadi Shodhana, the alternate nostril breathing. So that same breathing that Verena was doing earlier is a wonderful way to balance your Ida and Pingala bodies. The Ujjayi, that constriction breath, the Ujjayi, that yoga breath that we're all used to breathing with that constriction in our throat, creating those warming sensations. The Kabbalah body, those force exhales. Those force exhales really do work that energy up from the bottom. That's part of it when you're really forcing your stomach in, is forcing that energy to move up through your system. And the Bastrika, that rapid in and out, on the one that I saw called it breath of fire, and I was like, that is breath of fire, because if you think about the active like inhales and exhales, it is so much harder than the Kabbalah body, which is just the exhale on that one. And the Kumbhaka. So the Kumbhaka is used a lot in our traditional practices, but we're not even aware that we're doing it. It's when the yoga instructor tells you to take a deep inhale and hold. And they'll have you hold for a certain few seconds and then exhale, hold, inhale, hold. So having a holding breath is that Kumbhaka as well. So mudras, the yogi mudras that we do in our Ashtanga practice, different mudras are also related to different energy systems within our bodies. So you can do different hand poses in your pranayama or in your meditation practice that'll target different energy systems as well. So I thought that was pretty cool. And the shat karmas. So other techniques for purifying the body and the nadis too. The neti pot. You guys have maybe heard of the neti pot or seen that, where you are pouring water through your nasal passages and flushing your nasal passages. And then we have the dati, which is cleansing of the digestive tract. And so one of the techniques that it talks about is one where they actually they make you drink salt water, and you put rope down in through your nose and down in your stomach, and you have to wash it around, and then they pull the rope back out, and that's a cleansing technique. Very intense cleansing technique, not one that's done on a regular basis. The nali is something I think we're all more familiar with, of how you see people moving their abdominal muscles. So that's when you're gonna get into your position here, suck your stomach in, and then really working through those abdominal muscles and giving yourself a massage. The basti is a colonic irrigation, which is exactly what it sounds like, colonics, where they are putting a physical aspect into your reardom and and flowing said water in and out. So there's that. Who knew that was a yoga thing too? It's been around for a while. The Kabbalah body is also considered a shat karma. And then Trataka, the gazing at a fixed point, which is also perhaps more of a meditation aspect. So focusing on a candle flame and staring at it for 10 minutes or something like that. Okay, moving on to the chakras. So talked about earlier that the chakras are those pointed energy areas of the nadis. I think we're all very familiar with the chakras. It's a common term in our yoga world, and even just more commercialized these days. But it is spinning vortexes of energy in our astral body. Our astral body is our soul body, our spirit body. And these chakras radiate different colors and energies. So the color that's associated with the chakra really has to do with its energy and its vibration. So the chakras are also known as lotuses. You see a lot of chakra pictures with lotuses. I tried to do it on here. The crown chakra, not accurate, but the rest of them, yes. That each symbol is portrayed with a different number of petals, and those petals are associated with the expression of their vibratory frequency. So the root chakra has 4 petals, the sacral chakra has 6 petals, the solar plexus chakra has 10, the heart has 12, the throat has 16, the third eye has 2, and the crown chakra has 1,000 petals. I could not draw 1,000 petals. Not an artist. You can see that, but that's okay. So I just thought that was like a really interesting fact where these lotuses come from in these drawings. And so I tried to be accurate with all my little petals around my guys here. Not accurate over here. Don't count my petals over here. So going through the chakras, starting at our crown chakra, which is located at the top of our head. It's the purple, the indigo color. It's known as the Sahasrara chakra. Apologize if I mispronounce any of these. It's known as the bridge to the cosmos. So it really is our connection to the divine. You can think about an umbilical cord that runs from our chakra to our highest component in the divine up there. It is the most spiritual in nature of the 7 chakras, and that's really because it's how we connect to our divinity and the higher aspects of all that is. The mantra for the crown chakra is, I know. The next chakra down is the third eye chakra, known as the Ajna chakra. And it is located at our third eye, the top of our forehead, basically right between our brows. And it's really known as the seat of our intuition. And so a lot of things line up there. Right near your third eye, right in that same area, is the pineal gland. And they say the pineal gland is the gland that's connected to our intuition and our higher self. And so having a really strong third eye really connects you very strongly to your intuition, your gut instinct, being able to communicate with divinity and receive messages from them. It allows for clear thought, spiritual contemplation, and self-reflection. And the mantra is, I see. The next chakra down is the throat chakra, or the Vishuddha chakra, and is located at the center of the neck. And it acts as the individual's force of expression and individual truth. And so your throat chakra is really important to your ability to express yourself, to speak your truth. Maybe somebody who has a lot of trauma and can't talk about it, they'll have trouble expressing themselves, have trouble talking, expressing their individuality and things like that if you have a closed throat chakra. Something that I think was really helpful for me on my healing journey was just verbally saying out loud things that I was afraid to say. And I think that was really helpful for my heart chakra, not my heart chakra, my throat chakra, to be able to just say the words, even if it's hard to say the words, because that was really healing for me. So now, interestingly enough, I was in an ayahuasca experience, and the facilitator was having a conversation with all this, and this woman who was crying a lot, and she asked this facilitator, how do I know when I'm healed, or how do I know when I've gone through this? And he goes, when you can talk about it without crying. And I was like, oh my God, I can talk about these hard things and I'm not crying. And so I think that was one of these things that I really connected with on the throat chakra, as a way to work through these things, is just to say the hard things. The next chakra down is our heart chakra, or the Anahata chakra. It is located really at the center of our spine, in the back, near where our heart is. And so our heart chakra is an important chakra. It is the link between our lower chakras, our physical bodies, and our spiritual chakras and our higher self. It is the link between all of those aspects, our higher self and our physical body. And so it acts as an individual center for compassion, empathy, love, forgiveness, self-love. If you don't love yourself, how can you give that love to other people? So really, focusing on compassion and love and self-care, nurturing that heart chakra. The mantra is, I love. It'd be a great mantra for the heart chakra. The next chakra is the solar plexus chakra. The solar plexus is located like right about the diaphragm, like right below your rib cage. The solar plexus is called the Manipura chakra and translates to the city of jewels, located in that upper belly area, the diaphragm, and acts as your center of personal power. So this solar plexus chakra has a lot to do with our confidence, our personal power, how we see ourselves in the world. And so, you know, having a strong solar plexus doesn't mean personal power in terms of ego, but it does mean like confidence in who you are as a person, in your personality, and the things that you do, and the decisions that you make. The mantra is, I can. The next one down is the sacral chakra. The Swadhisthana, hope I said that right, chakra, is located in the lower center of your belly, below your belly button, and acts as the individual center for pleasure and passion. So your sexual energy is located in your sacral chakra, and so that can affect a lot of areas in your life of how you interact with your partner, your chosen partner. You know, your sacral energy is important to also feeling safe, and that's also getting into our root chakra too. The mantra for our sacral chakra is, I feel. The root chakra is our last chakra, and that is the Muladhara chakra. That chakra is at the very base of our spine, like right at the bottom of our sacrum. And it's known as the root of all things, because it is. And it acts as the individual center of emotional and spiritual balance. So our root chakra is where we want to feel safe. That's where our feeling of safe comes from. Our feeling of connectedness comes from. In psychology, you might have heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, your base need has to be safety and feeling secure with your surroundings, with yourself. And if you don't have this base of safety, then you can't move up to these higher needs. So your root chakra is really important to making sure you can move into those higher energy centers as you're wanting to move on your path of enlightenment. There are purification techniques, or what can we do to activate our chakras, to get them to bring more energy into our chakras, to lighten up more. A lot of techniques. And all these techniques that we talk about for the nadis and even down to the koshas, they're all the same techniques. They all work the same things. So your diet is important. So eating a balanced diet of food that's alive, you know, fresh foods, unprocessed foods, is really helpful to bring the nutritious elements into our body, because our energy, it's not just, you know, of course, an aspect that we can't see or feel, but our energy is made up of like ions in our body and calcium and salts and all these things within our body that are really important of how our energy moves. Of course, the asanas, those are going to stimulate energy and stimulate those chakras. And we've learned a lot during our 300-hour of certain poses. You know, you'll go to a class and the teacher will say, hey, anybody have a pose you want to do? And you'll get somebody who calls out like heart openers, you know, or some sort of hip openers. And so you know, okay, if they're doing heart openers, we're going to work on my heart chakra today. If they're doing hip openers, okay, I'm going to work on my root chakra today, or my solar plexus chakra. So all of these poses also correlate to a chakra that you're working on. Of course, the pranayama is increasing the flow of that energy and also removes the stale energy. Something that I thought was interesting that I learned about is a lot of people live their life in very shallow breath. A lot of people are not really moving that energy through their body. So you get a lot of people that are just living in this like small area, maybe not moving at their desk, breathing very shallow, not really moving a lot of energy through their body. Of course, meditation is a big aspect of all of these practices. And the mudras, like we talked about with the nadis, there's also mudras that are affecting the chakras, of course, because they're affecting the nadis. So with that being said, now what we're going to do is we're going to do a physical activity. And so this physical activity is a way of moving the energy through our body. So we generated a lot of energy earlier in Verina's practice in her workshop, and now we're going to move this energy through our body. And so what we're going to do is something not quite yoga, but kind of yoga. So I'm going to have everybody start by just laying on their mats. Let me just move this stuff around. So we're going to lay on our mats, and then the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to take a few breaths just to center ourselves. Just laying down on our mat. Of course. Hey.
Thanks, Frank.
Frank's in on the action. So we're going to take just a couple of deep breaths. Take a nice deep inhale in. All the way to the top and hold. And exhale it all the way out to the bottom. Take a nice deep inhale in all the way up and hold. And we're going to exhale it all the way out. Last breath here. Take a nice deep inhale in all the way to the top. We're going to hold it. And now we're going to exhale it all out. So now what we're going to do to start this energy is just like in yoga, how we'll rock, like you're going to rock up and back to massage your spine. We're going to do that same thing. So everybody come up to a sitting position where we're going to start rocking. And so in this rock, it's a real intentional rock. So you're going to go up and back, and that's going to count as 1. And we're going to do this 30 times. So here we go. 1 and up. 2 up. 3 up. 4 up. 5 up. 6 up. 7 up. 8 up. 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20, almost there. 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29, last one, and 30. Woo! All right, so now we're going to come laying back down on our mat, and we're going to bring our feet up like we were coming into a bridge pose. So bending at the knees, feet flat on the ground, your palms are going to be pressed down onto the ground, and we're just going to do a windshield wiper. So bringing the legs to the left, bringing your gaze to the right, and we're going to hold this for just a moment. Take a nice deep inhale in. Exhale it out. On our inhale, we're going to switch. So knees are dropping to the right, gaze to the left. Deep inhale in. Exhale out. On the inhale, we're going to switch. Gaze to the right, legs to the left. One full round of breath here. On your inhale, switching again, knees to the right, gaze to the left. One full round of breath here. Last switch, back to the left, gaze to the right. Full round of breath. And your inhale brings us back into the bridge position. So the next thing we're going to do is kind of also like a bridge. So I'll demonstrate first. So what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze your glutes and you're going to bring your glutes up. But instead of gently bringing them down like we would in our practice, you're going to bring it up and then you're going to drop it. You're going to bring it up and then you're going to drop it. I know it's going to shake the camera, but we're going to do this. So we are going to do this 20 times. So here we go. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, drop. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, drop. That's 2 and 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and rest. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do that same movement, but it's going to be double time like little taps. So instead of the big up and drop, it's just a small movement. So we'll just go 1. We'll just be tapping like this. And we're going to do that 50 times. So here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Take a nice deep inhale in. Exhale out. One more breath. Nice inhale in. Exhale it out. For the next pose, you're going to straighten your legs out. It's kind of like coming into fish. So in this pose, you're going to bend at your elbows. Your elbows are down by your side. And what I'm going to do, and I'll demonstrate, is I'm going to lift up through my chest like this and then drop it. Lift up and drop. So I'm pushing down on my elbows to lift my chest and then dropping it. So we're going to do that 30 times. Here we go. Inhale, lift and down. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Whew. For our last pose, we're going to be doing a mudra with our hand, and we're going to do a pointer finger. So taking both of your fingers, pointing, legs are relaxed, your arms are straight up in the air. On the inhale, take it like, we'll just do a round of breath here. Take a nice deep inhale in, exhale it out. On our inhale, stretching those arms over our head, keeping those fingers extended. So we're actively engaging really just through our pointer finger. All the rest of our body is relaxed. We're going to stay here for 10 full rounds of breath. Here we go. Take a nice deep inhale in. Exhale out. Inhale. Exhale. Inhaling for 3. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. This is number 5. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. 3 more. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Last breath. Nice inhale. And exhale. Taking a moment to bring the awareness back into your body. And when you're ready, we're going to sit back up. Okay. That particular exercise is really moving the energy up through our spine. So that's why I said this was really nice for us to do after we generated so much energy in Verena's workshop. That activity of doing those bouncing on the ground is loosening up those chakras, and really all those different stages that we were doing was moving that energy up and out. So I don't know if you guys really felt any type of energy release or any just relaxation there. I know it's kind of an odd thing, and I saw that and I was like, we got to do that. That looks cool. Because it's something really different, you know, working through your energy systems. So the last topic we're going to talk about is the koshas. So we learned about the nadis, of those energetic channels that we have, and the chakras, which are those pointed aspects, those intense aspects of the nadis. So now we're going to talk about the koshas. So the koshas are energetic layers of our soul. And when I originally drew this picture, you know, I drew the little person and all these big layers around it. But as I learned about the koshas, it's really the opposite. So all of these layers are going in us. So this little person here, that's our soul. That's our Atman, our highest self. So we have all these energetic layers, these sheaths. And so the kosha system was first written about in the Upanishads about the 6th century BC. So the Upanishads are part of the ancient Vedic texts. And so, you know, I love knowing that all of these things are written about so long ago, where, you know, we have the internet and we can like look things up, but it's like, how did they learn these things? How did they know these things? And it's just tremendous to me that they wrote about the energetic layers of our bodies thousands and thousands of years ago. So all the koshas essentially are these illusory sheaths, these veils, shielding us or keeping us away from our true self, our highest self, our soul. And kosha means sheath, and maya means illusion. And the maya is part of the names of the different koshas, and we're going to get into that. The koshas are the key to enhancing the awareness of your inner world and developing a connection among your mind, body, and spirit. And so I was really reflecting on that too, of like, given more information about who we are and the being that we are gives us an opportunity to get closer to that enlightenment, get closer to that samadhi, because you can't reach those things if you don't know about those things. So having a greater understanding of your energy systems and your body and yourself gets you closer to reaching that enlightenment on your journey and your path towards self-realization. Awakening deeper states of awareness on your path to self-realization. It's funny, I just said what I wrote that, it's funny. The koshas are also made up of those bodies that we talked about earlier, the physical body, the subtle body, and the causal body. So your physical body is really your Annamaya kosha. That's your outer layer. And then the subtle body is made up of the pranamaya kosha, the manomaya kosha, and the vijnana maya kosha. And the causal body is the anandamaya kosha. So the physical body, we feel it, we see it, we touch it. Then there's the subtle body, which is your mind, your emotions, your intellect. And then the causal body, which is your soul, is that anandamaya kosha. So starting with our outer layer, our Annamaya kosha, that's our physical body. They call that the food body. So you guys heard that term, you are what you eat. And nowhere else does this ring more true, because we are truly what we eat. We are our food body. What we put into ourself becomes our physical self. So, it's really our skin, our bones, everything that we can see. So purifying and activating our physical kosha, our Annamaya kosha. So asana, of course, is a great way. Physically moving your body, working your muscles, working the tendons, working those connective tissues. It removes the blockages, so working through our energetic channels, removes toxins, increases strength and flexibility, tones your organs, tissues, and muscles. And also through the diet. So going back to we are what we eat, the sattvic diet, so the sattvic going into the energy of harmony and kindness. So, a lot of yogis are either vegetarian or vegan, drawing into those 8 limbs, and part of the 8 limbs, the ahimsa of no harm or non-violence. So a lot of yogis choose to be vegetarian or vegan, so they're not doing harm to animals and things like that. So looking at what you're putting into your stomach and your body is important to this outer layer. The next layer down is the pranamaya kosha, or our energy body. This is what gives us our aura. I don't know if you guys ever had those like aura pictures. I always wanted to get one. If there's like a person that comes in town with their special camera, I'd love to do it. So this is where our aura comes from. And our pranamaya kosha is what is regulating the flow of energy through the nadis and the chakras. It is our life force energy. And so, like I said before, a lot of the ways that we purify and activate all these things, it's all in one. It's all doing the same things. So while we're physically working on our physical body with our asanas, we're also working on our energy body with our asanas. And of course, pranayama, you can't get any closer to pranayama than your pranamaya. Same word, prana, energy. The next one down is the manomaya kosha, or our emotional body, our mental sheath. So this acts as a messenger, bringing experiences and sensations from the outer world into our inner world. The mind sheath too, so this is our intellect. This is where you can have things like mental chatter, and so let's say you have a lot of mental chatter and you don't have a lot of quiet space in your mind, like through meditation, it's hard for you to access the lower levels, the lower koshas, like the Vijnamaya kosha, when you have so much chatter in your head. You can't hear those messages from divinity. You can't connect to that divinity because you got too much stuff going on. So it is important for this mental body that you do things like meditate to be able to get rid of that mental chatter and to be able to access those deeper levels of your kosha and your layers. So like I said, this represents your mind, your emotions, your inner world. This governs our thoughts and our emotions, and it's also responsible for how we see the world, because your perception is everything. Your perception is, how you have a rose-colored glasses or not. How do we look at the world? So I added meditation to the purification techniques along with the asana and pranayama for the manomaya kosha. The next one down is the Vijnanamaya kosha, our wisdom body, our intuitive sheath. I don't know if you guys ever have a strong connection to your gut instinct, or something's weird and you feel it and you know it and you don't know why, but you just know it. That is your intuition sheath. So it's the home of our inner knowing and wisdom. This is also the sheath that allows us to connect to all that is, or to hear messages from all that is, or however you receive your inner knowing. Let's say you're deep in meditation and you receive something like, I need to talk to this person, or I need to go to this place. Connecting with this kosha and this energy level is what allows you to connect to that all that is. Connects to our highest self, helps to develop clarity and inner reflection as you learn to detach from all the mental chatter. And so getting into this state here too, I added flow state. So have any of you guys ever heard of flow state? So flow state is, let's say I was a pianist and I was like in it and I'm in my zone. I'm not looking at the music, I'm playing, doing my thing. That's like flow state, when you're like really doing your thing. You forget about time. You're like really into something. That's flow state. And that you can access your wisdom body during too.
In running, you get it.
Running,
Like
yes.
You run after a while, it's just everything
Yeah,
happens
correct.
automatically.
Exactly. And your most inner aspect, your very inner layer, is your Anandamaya Kosha. That is your bliss body. That is your ethereal body. This is your innermost sheath. This is the aspect of our being that we recognize as the deep inner peace, the joy, the freedom from thought, total immersion with creation itself, samadhi. So, one of the videos that I was watching, I loved how the woman explained this kosha. And she talked about, you know, what I said earlier, like, I have a body, I am not a body. And the way she said this, I was like, boom, she hit it right in the nail on the head. So our physical body, we are not that outer layer. We have a physical body. Then we have our energy body, but that's not also us. That's part of the physical body. And then we have the mind chatter, which, you know, this stuff's just going on and we don't necessarily have control of it all the time. So that's not even really us too. Or this Vijnamaya Kosha. Who we really are is this pure energy at the core of who we are. That is who we really are, the pure energy, that pure joy, that pure consciousness. All these other aspects that are wrapped around us, parts of who we are, but that's not really who we are. And I just connected to that so much of her saying that. I was like, that's right, that's who we really are. Abraham Hicks is somebody who I follow. I don't know if any of you guys are Abraham Hicksers, but she talks about how we are pure consciousness. And that is this, pure consciousness at the deep core of who we are. You know, things that you can do to connect to this, really the main thing that you can do to connect to this is going to be through meditation, of really quieting the mind. So that way you can get down to those deeper energetic layers and connect to all that is. 4 paths to healing through all of these levels. Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, raja yoga. So the karma yoga, yoga of action, the acts of selfless service, you know, volunteering your time. That's an aspect of karma yoga. You can do something good for somebody else, acts of service. The bhakti yoga, the devotional yoga, that bhakti yoga is a yoga that is spiritually focused. So those who follow the bhakti yoga are not necessarily doing like an asana practice, but are doing a devotional practice, whether they're meditating to that deity. The Hare Krishnas come to mind for this. The Hare Krishnas are a group of people who they sing Hare Krishna and they're chanting Hare Krishna, and that's a devotional thing that they're doing. And then there's the jnana yoga, which is the yoga of knowledge, not intellectual knowledge in like a book way, but the knowledge of the Atman and our unity, the path of self-realization. So if you're on the jnana yoga path, that is a path of turning inwards and learning about yoga philosophy, learning about yourself towards self-realization. And then there's the Raja Yoga, which is both a goal and a method. So the goal being samadhi, that highest level of bliss, and it's also a method. I'm including Hatha Yoga in here as the method for the Raja Yoga. So you have all of these pathways to working on all these energy systems, whether it's what you physically put into your body, but also to how you talk to yourself. It's your meditation, it's your physical practice. I mean, all of these things are really serving your body and serving yourself. Okay, any questions so far? Okay. Our last activity is going to be a japa mala activity. And I chose this activity because I felt like it's going to help us work through a lot of things. So we're getting an aspect of chanting, which is a vibration, which is helping all of our energy systems. And it's also an aspect of bhakti yoga. So we're a devotional chant to Shiva. And so we're going to be working on a lot of our energy systems through this Japamala. So have you guys all done Japamala? Does everybody know what the Japamala is? So Japamala, so what we're going to do with the beads is there's a main bead. What you're going to have is the main bead, and then you have all these other beads, 108 beads. And so we're going to start at the first top bead, and then we're going to say our statement here, our prayer. And so each time you say a prayer, then you move to the next bead, you move to the next bead, you move to the next bead. So I chose Om Namah Shivaya for us, Shivaya. I listened to some YouTube videos, you know, they're all different.
Yes.
And I chose this one. It's a mantra that calls upon Lord Shiva. And when we meditate with this mantra, we can become self-realized. And I said, what a perfect mantra. So it's Om Namah Shivaya.
Shivaya. Do you know that song, Om Namah Shivaya?
Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. I tried to put it big so you all can see it.
I say Shivaya because it's to
Om,
Shiva.
yeah,
Oh.
Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya. So what we're going to do is we're going to close our eyes and we're going to start and we'll all go together and chant together and end together. So we're going to take a nice deep inhale in. Here we go. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Om Namah Shivaya.
We all lost count.
I had two more, but that's okay. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Take a deep inhale in. Exhale it all out. Thank you all for being here today, dear friends. I am so thankful, so appreciating each and every single one of you for being here today. Namaste.
Namaste. I do have some questions.
Yes, I will happily answer any questions.
I was gonna, I kind of forget my question, but it was very important. About the chakras, I had a couple questions, but about the chakras, when you, like the root chakra that I have, do you feel like, society has kind of, a lot of people are stuck in that I have, base of like I have this and like the desire to want more things or more money or more cars or like do more things and be like I have, look at me. Do you think that people are kind of have stuck energy in that chakra?
Yeah. So interestingly, with that particular like sentiment of the I have, but in like an ego way. And so you can be stuck in that energy of having the ego aspect of the I have and having like too much of that Pingala energy going on and it being in a negative way. So then when you're amassing all those things, and I think a part of that is like maybe if I think about some of the people that maybe that I know in my life, because I'm thinking about like who represents that in my life. There's a gentleman that I know that is like all flashbang. He loves to show off his watches and he comes to yoga and he loves to show off his cars and all that kind of stuff. And it's, for me, it's such a juxtaposition of like energies of like who he is and how he shows off. And then I thought, well, maybe he comes from a place of not having a lot. And then you're wanting to have all of those things. And that's where I think therein lies like an imbalance of like, if it's coming from a place of like the ego, like I need it, I think there's an imbalance there.
And then another question, when somebody's out of balance in their chakras, do you think that it's noticeable in the Annamaya Kosha? Like in their physical body?
Yes, yeah. So one of the things that I was learning is like, our energy systems, like if you go to somebody who can like read energy, they can tell you have diseases before you actually physically have the diseases too in your energy body. And so with your physical body and you're having all these, if you have other blockages in your other chakras, it can definitely manifest in your physical body as physical ailments. You might have, let's say, somebody broke up with you and your heart is broken. You can physically have heart pain, and then you maybe see that person like hunched over, or they're having, they're physically sad, but they're feeling that pain in their body. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Definite physical manifestations for those energy aspects.
Yeah. I find that so fascinating.
Oh yeah. Other questions?
This was beautiful. So much knowledge. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That